Hey, welcome to our Reddit. I need to vent about the craziest experience I've ever had with a manager, and I figure you guys might appreciate the absurdity of it all. So buckle up, because this is the tale of how I got fired by a Karen manager at a hardware store. The setup: I've been working at this small town hardware store for about a year. It's a pretty chill job, and most of my coworkers are decent people. The customers, however, can be a mixed bag, but nothing could have prepared me for Karen. Karen wasn't always the manager. She was hired a few months ago after our previous manager, Bob, retired. Bob was great, easygoing, fair, and always willing to lend a hand. Karen, on the other hand, was the polar opposite. From the moment she walked in, she acted like she owned the place. She had the classic Karen haircut, always wore business suits that seemed way too formal for a hardware store, and had a voice that could pierce through steel. The rules. Karen had a knack for making up rules on the fly. One day, she decided that all employees had to stand at attention whenever she walked by, like we were in the military or something. Failure to do so would result in a stern talking to. Then, there was the no phone rule, which was pretty standard, except she would check on us constantly to make sure we weren't even glancing at our screens. She also had this bizarre obsession with the store being spotless. Now, I'm all for cleanliness, but Karen took it to another level. She'd come in with a white glove and run it along the shelves, and if she found even a speck of dust, there would be hell to pay. The incident. Now, let's get to the incident that led to my downfall. It was a busy Saturday afternoon, and the store was packed. Karen was in one of her particularly foul moods, barking orders left and right. I was working the register when an elderly woman came in, looking a bit lost. She asked me where she could find a specific type of garden hose. I was about to direct her to aisle 5 when Karen swooped in out of nowhere. Karen: "Is there a problem here?" Me: "No, just helping this customer find a garden hose." Karen: "Did you ask if she needed help?" Me: "She asked me." Karen: "You should be proactive. You should have asked her first." The customer, bless her heart, tried to defuse the situation by saying she didn't mind asking for help. But Karen was already on a roll. Karen: "You're setting a bad example for the other employees. You're supposed to be anticipating the customer's needs." Me: "I'm sorry. Karen, I'll try to be more proactive." Karen: "Not good enough. Follow me." She dragged me to the back office and proceeded to give me a lecture on customer service that lasted a solid 20 minutes. When I finally got back to the register, the line was even longer, and customers were visibly annoyed. But that wasn't the worst part. The final straw. Later that day, a customer came in with a return. He had bought a hammer, but it turned out to be defective. Store policy is to refund or replace defective items, no questions asked. So, I started processing the return. Karen appeared out of nowhere again seriously. Does she have some kind of manager radar? And demanded to know what I was doing. Me: "Processing a return. The hammer is defective." Karen: "Did you test it?" Me: "Test it? How?" Karen: "Hit something with it." "How do you know it's defective?" Me: "The customer said the head is loose." Karen: "That's not good enough. You need to test it yourself." At this point, I was fed up. The customer was looking increasingly uncomfortable, and I was about ready to explode. But I kept my cool, took the hammer, and gave it a few taps on the counter. Sure enough, the head wobbled. I looked at Karen, expecting her to back off, but she just sneered. Karen: "Fine, process the return. But next time, don't take the customer's word for it." The firing. The next morning, I came into work and found a termination notice waiting for me. Karen was sitting in the office, looking smug as ever. Karen: "You're being let go for insubordination and poor customer service." Me: "Insubordination? Poor customer service? Are you serious?" Karen: "Yes. You failed to be proactive. You processed a return without proper verification, and you disrespected my authority." Me: "This is ridiculous." Karen: "You can collect your things and leave immediately." And that was it. I was fired by a Karen at a hardware store for doing my job. The aftermath. I've since found a new job at a different store where the manager is actually sane. But I still can't believe the insanity I dealt with at the hardware store. My former coworkers tell me Karen is still up to her old tricks. but now they just roll their eyes and avoid her as much as possible. So that's my story, our Reddit. Have you ever dealt with a manager as crazy as Karen? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your horror stories too. Thank you for watching our Reddit. If you like my content and want to support me, don't forget to like and subscribe.